Good morning. My name is Lydia Kufum, and today we'll continue the story of from the book of Samuel. Story of Samuel. So I'm reading from yesterday we spoke about the story of Samuel from chapter 1, verse 1 to 7. So today we'll continue from verse 8 to 18. Verse 8 to 18 says, Then Elkanah, her husband, said to her, Hannah, why do you weep? Why do you not eat? And why is your heart grieved? Am I not better to you than 10 sons? So Hannah arose after they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh. Now Eli the prophet, Eli the priest, now Eli the priest was sitting on the seat by the doorpost of the tabernacle of the Lord. And she was in the bitterness of soul and prayed to the Lord and wept in anguish. Then she made a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your maidservant and remember me, and not forget your maidservant, but will give your maidservant a male child, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall come upon his head. Verse 12. And it happened, as she continued praying before the Lord, that Eli watched her mouth. Now Hannah spoke in her heart. Only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she was drunk. So Eli said to her, How long will you be drunk? Put your wine away from you. But Hannah answered and said, No, my Lord, I am a woman of sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor intoxicating drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord. Do not consider your maidservant a wicked woman, for out of the abundance of my complaint and grief I have spoken until now. Then Eli answered and said, Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant your petition which you have asked of him. And she said, Let your maidservant find favor in your sight. So the Lord went her way and saw the woman away and ate, and her face was no longer sad. That comes to the end of the reading of the passage. So verse 8 to 18 talks about Hannah crying out to God. She cried and wept in the presence of God. This was Hannah's fervent prayer to God. Year by year, Penina, uh, Elkanah and her and Penina's children come to the temple to worship God yearly, year by year. And Penina made Hannah feel miserable the fact that she didn't have any child. So Hannah had reached her breaking point. She said, no, this is the time she has to cry out to God with all her heart, that God should hear her prayer. So Hannah wept and cried fervently unto the Lord. The Lord was, even Eli the prophet thought Hannah was drunk from the way she was acting in the temple. So it just shows how fervently she was crying out to God, how fervently she called unto the Lord. I don't know what anybody may be going through in their lives right now. We don't know how sorrowful anybody may be going through. Someone may have lost a family member. Someone might be going through something challenging and very difficult. And you might not know whether that situation may end. You might not know when a period of peace of mind and joy may come. So just like the story of Hannah, cry out to God. Call on to the creator of the heavens and the earth, the one who made the entire universe. Whatever you may be going through, call unto his name and fervently kneel before his presence and speak to him that he may intervene in your situation. Because with God, nothing shall be impossible. No matter how long your situation has persisted, God can make a way. So Eli the prophet said to her that may God grant her petition that he has asked for him. So may the Lord grant everyone's petition as we go before Him and ask Him, as we cry out to Him, the Lord grant our petition, that we may walk in His ways, that we may walk in His goodness and His mercy and His joy and His plan for our life. This concludes the reading of the second part of Samuel. So, God willing, tomorrow we continue to see what happened in the next verses. Thank you for watching and listening. May God bless you. Have a nice day. Bye. Don't forget to like and subscribe.